And
lost
we're
my
live
phone.
now, and we're actually, maybe. Oh no, we actually was kind of on time because I know that the intro takes a little bit more than a minute. So we are here for another episode of Comic Book Spectrum. We got Elaine here. I'm not certain if Cliff's going to be on later on or not, but we're going to deal with what we got to deal with here.
Isn't this the week he comes on an hour later? Was that last week?
No, that was last week. That was the hour late.
Then
This
he's
might
not
be
on.
the week that he missed. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not on this week.
But
Yep.
those things kind of throw us off a little bit here. But
And I lost my phone.
how did you lose your phone? Oh, she's not on the microphone again.
What? You can't
No,
hear
I
me?
just say you went so high pitched, like you're no longer on the microphone again. Like, oh, I'm like, oh no, she's about to go high pitched. She's not on the microphone again.
I lost. I don't know what I did with it. I just went in my room and I didn't see it. I don't know what I've done with my phone. Courtney and I, after the show, she's gonna dial my phone and find it for me.
Okay.
Because once I get it, I'm just gonna turn it off and put it over here anyway. It's just if I left it in my room with my youngest,
Uh-huh.
He'll want to play on it.
He's probably playing on it. That's probably what happened. But before the show, we was in the middle of a
It was
conversation
buzzing.
talking about something that is kind of Americana in a certain way, dealing with a song called Bandstand Boogie. For those who don't know, Bandstand Boogie is the actual theme song to American Bandstand. Now, what most people don't realize that in 1975, Barry Manilow made a remake of it. It added words to it. And we was talking about the history of Bandstand Boogie because the majority of the people of today would only know the Mellow version. But the original one came back, I think it was like almost like either 1920 or 1930. And that was the one thing that Dick Clark was saying to Barry Manilow when he remade it, is that the song was pretty much kind of like one of those songs that during the times of like the 1950s that they would add it into like a jewelry box or something to that magnitude, and they was playing it on a repeat in the first original Philadelphia version of American Bandstand. It wasn't. They didn't even actually have a album of the original big band version of it. They had some type of I forgot what type of box it was that was playing it on a loop, and it sounds like it was something that came from like like an ice cream truck or a jewelry box or something like that when they played it live or on television. So you have to imagine.
It did sound kind of tinny. It
Mm-hmm.
did sound a little tinny and out of there. I as a kid, I remember there were times when it sounded a little out of tune,
Mm-hmm.
and then Manilow came and said, "Let me clean this up."
And with him being on there, several times before and this, that, and the other, and I think it was kind of like almost like 25-year anniversary, and he got invited. And he decided to update the theme song for that.
Yeah, because I think he introduced Mandy on
Yeah.
that show, and because that was his first big hit, and he said that was the one he wrote for his dog. And I'm trying to remember if the theme song he wrote for Ready to Take a Chance Again, which is the theme song he wrote for that movie that Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase were in.
Now you're making me think about that one. I don't want to say it was Money Pit. I don't think it was Money Pit.
No, that wasn't even Chevy Chase or Goldie Hawn.
No, Goldie Hawn was in Money Pit.
It was Shelley. That was that Shelley chick from.
That was. I don't think it was Shelley Long in Money Pit.
No, it was the Shelley. It was Shelley Long from Cheers that was in Money Pit.
I think we're talking about two different movies here. So
okay.
let me see here.
The one I'm talking about was shot in San Francisco, and it introduced Dudley Moore to American audience.
No, okay, that's a completely different movie. I know which movie that you're talking about now.
The
I
Money
forgot the name of that. I
It's
forgot the name of that movie.
I can never remember it. The Money Pit is the one where they buy. It's a remake, I think, of an old classic movie. They buy a house, and they think they've got a great house for a deal, and they're going to remodel it. Except every time, they get one thing fixed and something else falls apart. It's a never ending story of repairs and stuff, and it gets wilder and crazier at each time. But I think that was Shelley Long in that one.
Right. Well, I thought that was Goldie Hawn, just
No,
like
I think it was
what's it
Shelley
called?
Long because I think that was they were trying. That was when they were trying to push Shelley Long past Cheers and
Well,
into
I
more
thought
movies.
Shelley Long past Cheers. The first movie that would have been Troop Beverly Hills.
Troop Beverly Hills was her first movie, but I'm saying that was supposed to be the follow up to Troop Beverly Hills, but it was a different type of character. It was a different type of movie,
Mhm.
and she just was not necessarily the right pick for it, I believe.
Just like I believe Goldie Hawn was not the best pick for Wildcats either.
Oh, where she ends up coaching the
Football
football
team.
team.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
19.
old, but I can still row a couple of brain
Yeah.
cells together.
No, you're not old. I mean, if you consider that movie old, then I'm getting ancient. Then
Well, it is. I mean, if you consider how old Goldie Hawn
that
is
was that
nowadays,
was
Goldie
Tom
Hawn,
Hanks and Shelley Long. That was Shelley Long. Okay.
yeah, that was them. They had it was, and I believe it was a remake of an older film. Um, I think or it was based in part of on an older. I think it was maybe based on Mr. Blanding's builds his dream house or something like that. But it was an older film that was they decided to update and put them in. Ooh, he's frozen. Joe, you're frozen. Unfreeze Joe. Hold on. Everybody together. Unfreeze Joe. Woo. Unfreeze Joe. Woo. Okay. Thank you. He's unfreezing. This happens. It's hot and it's killing our it's killing okay. It is killing our electricals. The heat is really killing the electricity here in
No,
South Shore.
something else is happening with
Yeah,
the
because you're here
internet
twice.
here.
Here's another Joe D. McPhee.
Right. They- it's doing something very very weird. So
Joe, you're a replicant.
yeah, I don't know what it's doing here.
Yeah. Hey, my
Yeah, it's not that cold outside. Yep, I remember that line.
but my internet's been buggy for a couple of weeks now.
Yep,
We've been
yep.
having all sorts of
Now I threw the
issues.
other one off, so we're back being normal.
No more
I
replicant.
don't know what happened there.
Hey, Brad.
Yep, and like I'm just thinking of all the Goldie Hawn stuff. It's like you had Wildcat, and my favorite was Private Benjamin.
Yeah, a lot of people's. In fact, Private Benjamin was one that everybody kept saying she shouldn't do because it wasn't your normal ha ha funny comedy. It was more of what now is referred to or was for a while in the 80s and 90s referred to as a dramedy.
Right.
Um and so it wasn't but it didn't fit either one, and people said, oh, she can't do that. She can do Screwball. She's a bubblehead. She can do Screwball, but she can't do intelligent comedies. This is
Oh yes, you can. Oh
but
yes, you
but what I'm saying is when she was cast,
can. Hmm.
there were a lot of naysayers who I remember reading some of those articles saying that she was not the best choice. And then, of course, as soon as the movie came out and it was a hit, especially with women, everybody's like, oh, well, that's not what I meant. I was just wondering if it was maybe the right choice for her to make. It was funny
Yeah, people
the
trying to
amount of
clean up,
people who backpedaled.
people clean up their thing here. That's the way that I look at it. But it to me, that movie was the pinnacle of her playing a role that actually had character growth throughout the whole movie.
And it did so well as a movie.
Mhm.
A few years later, a few laters. Oh God, I Mama needs a nap. Courtney, I need a nap. Don't make me throw my shoe at you. And now we walking around the house with no shoes. I forgot. Oh, it did well enough as a movie that they turned it into a TV series. CBS then turned it into a series, and they had a couple of good seasons. And
The
they
thing,
actually, Ellen Brennan, who played the sergeant in the movie,
you mean the
actually,
captain
she played the captain in the movie, transferred to the
or two?
series, which helped give it the oomph that they needed because people were like, oh, okay. Because at first, CBS was kind of coy and they weren't being like, they weren't being clear when they were talking about it being in the works, whether or not Goldie Hawn was going to be in the series.
Mhm.
And then they made it clear that they had hired this other actress, but Ellen Brennan was going to redo her role. And a lot of people, because she's one of those great character actresses that
She
there are
played
people,
that. She played the heck out of that captain,
and there are character
and
actresses,
she
people
knows
will,
the nuance for that role. She
yeah,
knows it too well.
it's like the guy who was in Red One,
Mhm.
and he did all those farmers commercials.
Mm.
And
Oh, you're talking about
because he's the same
you're,
guy
you're
that,
talking about J. Jonah Jameson.
yeah, the guy who plays J. Jonah Jameson. He's one of those character actors, T.S. Niners. I can't.
T.S. Eliot or something like that.
T.S.
No.
Eliot is a poet.
Yeah, you know where my bias is going. My guy is like,
But he's also one of those character actors
mhm.
that people, if you mention, put his face on it, and people are like, oh, I want to check this out because I know he's in it, and I know if he's in it, even if the lead is kind of, it'll still be enjoyable because he's in it. And that was the thing with Brennan. You had this really great, and I mean, there are Newhart built his shows. He got known for not just being the star, but having all these great character actors. And he
Around
was,
him.
oh my goodness, Daryl.
This my brother Daryl and my other
My
brother
other brother
Daryl.
Daryl, Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Right.
He gave people the chance to create these
He
characters,
relaunched Tom Poston's career.
And set off so many others. And it was just there was that it was just that time where if you had really good character actors holding things up, you could get a good series. Think about Taxi. None of those guys were leads. They were the secondary crew who put together, you had lightning in a bottle.
But that's the thing, because when you truly think about Taxi, Judd Hirsch really wasn't the true lead.
No, but it was that formula of he was the
The chaos.
normal guy
Mhm.
in the middle of a band of idiots.
I wouldn't say a bad idea amongst the chaos, all this chaos. It was
Yeah,
nothing but chaos from Louis De Palma being Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito built an
You
entire
had
career just on Louis De
Doc
Palma.
Brown as Reverend Jim. You had Tony Danza as Tony. You had what's his name? Shoot. They did a movie on him called Man in the Moon, and he was Locke. You had Carol.
Oh yes,
You had Carol King as his girlfriend. You had
and
I
that
I
series
can't even think of
made
the
her.
redhead's name. The redhead's name, the female co-lead in Taxi.
Her last good
Uh,
movie was the one she did with what is it's the one about the work they were doing. It was the one with the Jamie Lee Curtis and
Mhm.
what's his name. That was her last big film.
Right. But it was a
Um,
lot of great actors that was in there. I can't even think of the name of the actor that played Bobby in Taxi now, but it was a whole bunch
he
of them. It
was
was like that was what you call an ensemble cast that really played well with one another.
he became a sci-fi comeback story because
Mhm.
he got a little too many people whispering the wrong things in his ear, and his career went down the tubes, and he didn't work for over a decade. And then um Brzezinski called and said, hey, you want to try out for this thing I'm doing over here? And he got the series. They had the with Bruce Boxleitner,
What?
Babylon 5.
Babylon 5. Okay. Yeah.
He got Babylon 5, and everybody's like, oh, please. But then J. Michael Straczynski did that not just with him, but Billy Mumy.
Mhm.
After Billy Mumy did Lost in Space, it was like, well, kid actors don't usually transition into adults. And he hired Billy Mumy.
Mhm.
And when people found out who this guy was, we were like, oh, Will Robinson!
I was so happy when they came back out with New Twilight Zone that he came back as Anthony. And it's like his storyline almost came full circle, and I was so
To the
impressed
time
with
when
the
he was
writing
a
of it
kid.
that it didn't feel like a Rod Sterling. It didn't feel like a Rod Sterling Twilight Zone, but it felt like a classic Twilight Zone episode.
It was something I realized, and I think there was a article in which they were interviewing the production team, and they were like, we want to honor Serling,
Hmm.
but at the same time, he's no longer here.
Hmm.
We want to honor him. We want to keep things that feel like it's a progression of the show we all know, but it's not necessarily going to feel like a Rod Serling episode. And I respected that because it's like, okay, you're honoring him. He created this show and he did things on his show that, for the time in which he did them, he could have got kicked off the air and never worked again.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize it. I actually just saw a thing on Dick Van Dyke's show where they did something similar. And it cracked me up because I remembered the episode they were talking about. At the end of it, we were all rolling on the floor. I love the Dick Van Dyke show.
Hmm.
Um, but Carl Reiner, father of Rob,
Yeah. Hmm.
was because he tried to do that show for himself, and it was originally called Head of the Family. And if you go on to hopefully they still have it, Amazon used to have the pilot as part of season one. You could see the pilot that they shot with Rob Reiner, and you see why it didn't work. It was very Jewish.
Oh, okay.
It was very Jewish. And he wasn't the type for that role. Then a couple of years later, they got Dick Van Dyke, and he got another shot at it. And one of the things he did was they did a show in which it was a flashback show. Rob had been convinced because he and Laura, they had little Richie,
Hmm.
and they were the Petries, and there was a couple, I think a couple of floors up, who were the Peters, and they were getting things that were supposed to be for the Peters.
You mean down the street because they were
No,
sitting.
no, 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 no. They were in the hospital. It starts in the hospital.
Oh,
It
okay.
starts in the hospital. And
Okay.
this couple, they were getting stuff for the Peters, and the Peters were getting stuff for the Petries. And Rob had got it into his head that, and the nurse, and when they were leaving, he was complaining about it, and the nurse almost gave them the Peters paperwork. Because she said, well, here you are, Mr. and Mrs. Peters. And it's like, no, we're the Petries. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, here. And she gives them the right paperwork. Mm-hmm. Rob becomes convinced that they don't have the right baby, that they got Peter's baby, and the Peters have their baby. And they call Rob calls them and says, hey, I think we got the wrong children. We're the Petries. And while we had our kids at the same time, mm-hmm. and the hospital was screwing up things. And the guy on the phone says, oh, okay, goes, I believe our kids got switched. Because there had been a couple of newspaper articles around
right.
This time about babies being switched at birth by mistake. Anyway, and the guy on the phone says, and he says, well, you want to come over? We'll switch our babies back. And the guy on the phone's like, yeah, sure. They show up. He opens the door. It's a Black couple. When they shot it, the laughter, because this was when they were working in front of a live audience, the laughter went on for 11 minutes. The jokes, which were supposed to be subtle,
were blatant, very blatant.
Was supposed to be the last 5 minutes of the episode, took them half an hour to shoot because they couldn't get the audience to stop laughing. And the husband is none other than Garrett Morris.
Oh my goodness.
He did 2 episodes. The second one wasn't the baby's fault. And it was so funny because Dick Van Dyke is sitting there and the women are laughing, and Dick Van Dyke's like, why do you tell me over the phone? He goes, and this your expression when we come in the door? It was, and it's classic Rob Reiner. I mean, Carl Reiner. It is amazing. Mm-hmm. It is tour de force. And they were showing it again, and I remember just laughing. And I remember as a kid watching it and just cracking the hell up and thinking, yeah, there's no way you're going to mistake that baby. And the funny part about it is the ending joke of the show. Mm-hmm. After they've done it and they've gone off and everything, it seems their kid goes to Richie's school. And he's like, I kind of wish our kids had gotten switched. He goes, why? He goes, their kid's top of his class. Richie's failing everything. That kid falling top of the class is like, Richie, shoot.
People would be laughing their asses off with that one joke. It's like, yeah, we should have still switched. It's like, why? He's the top of the class. Richie just failing everything.
And like I said, it was half an hour to film just those last 5 minutes. And it was so funny. They had to, and they normally don't, even if they don't show the show live, it's a live audience, but they and they usually don't edit out the laugh track. This time they had to cut the laugh track back because there was no way they could do the show. I have it, and now as I'm older, I remember it, and it was like, okay, and they're Desilu. Just so you know, this was a Desilu show. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, as I'm older, I kind of go, geez, I kind of miss that Desi Arnaz. Because they shot.
They were the first one to do the 3-camera trick.
Well, Desi invented that. He's considered the inventor of that. They would sometimes, when the audience's response was too long, because Lucy would, Lucy and the lady who played Ethel, they were really good together.
Vivian
And
Band.
her and Vivian Vance, and they would often just come up with stuff on the fly. They would have a written script, but then they would think of something. One of them would get like a twinkle in her eye and think of something, and the other one would follow. So you would have them sort of reinterpreting the script, and the audience, of course,
Went
the
along
audience,
with the ride.
so they would just be people would be falling over. But there are times, originally when Desi was off camera watching the scene, and he had a very definitive laugh, and you could hear him laughing. And there are several episodes in which you hear him just busting up. And then it became something, for a while, it became like the Wilhelm scream, because they just kind of started throwing Desi. When it was too much, they would like just throw Desi in. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is so good. But yeah, I love that. And
I could just imagine him laughing with Vita Vita Vegemin.
Oh, yes.
Mini Mini Mac.
You pop art at Pootie's. I'm just. Yeah, you see where our heads
And
going
then
right now.
who was it? I forgot the name of the actor. I mean, he's almost could be like a dead ring for Lou Costello, but he comes in like he's like one of the set guys to get everybody back in line and everything.
Yeah.
And Lucy is taller than him by a lot, so he comes up and is like, "Are you okay?" This, that, and the other. And she comes like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "Am I all right?" I'm just perfectly fine.
What? She looks like she's about to fall off her chair any second. And he's just kind of like, oh God.
It's like how she whipped that neck, and it was like that look of dead serious. Like, what do you mean if I'm all right? I'm perfectly fine. It's like, are you sure? It's like, you know that this stuff is like such percent alcohol. Nah, I'm all right.
Well, no, actually, she didn't. What happened was, after they shot the commercial, Ricky, after she's sobered up and she's got a hangover, Ricky tells her that it's like, it's
And you
supposed to be
said
like,
something to the effect that's like, we never had anybody take that many spoonfuls. Like, we could pick it up for after you take it. It's like, no, I'm perfectly fine.
I'm fine. Everything's fine. And it's so tasty too. It's like, yeah, I guess you didn't read the label and see that. I think it was like 20 something percent alcohol, and she by the end she just kind of upended. Woo!
It's so tasty too.
So yeah, it's just, and of course
that's a spoonful of mini Mac.
Oh, screw it.
It's like that in the in the improvisation on the chocolate line.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's like there would be things that were written, and before the cameras they would just start talking, going, okay, that's funny, but I bet we can make it better. And then they would stand there and go, one would go, are you sure? It's like, yeah, we can make this better, just follow my lead. Okay. And they're just like, it is this whole wild, and of course afterwards,
I'm like, what? It's like the lady comes back. It's like, oh, you doing pretty well. All right, Charlie, speed up the line.
Speed it up. And the first couple of speed ups, they're fine, but it's that last one, they're just totally floored. And it's like, yeah, I love this show. I gotta find where I gotta find if I can get the episodes. I would like to start buying the
Do you
episodes. I
remember the
think.
Fred McMurray episodes?
Ooh, I'm trying to remember which was the first one he did. I can't remember the first one.
I don't remember the very first one. I remember the ones in the middle. It's like after they met, he was about to get in trouble with his significant other because he was always late. And this, that, or the other. He was always whining and crying about it.
Yeah.
And that's when Lucy came up with this one plan to talk about that there was like I want to say either gold or uranium that was out there in the desert, and everybody went out there to go find whatever it was.
My one of my
I just want to know, did he just crack up?
he
Did he just
probably he probably did. I mean, you could there were times where you could see they were doing things to crack each other up as well as crack up whoever was guesting. Because I still remember fondly the Superman one. And I love it because
it's like wait,
he
George
goes,
Reed is like, wait a second. It's like,
"Are you
wait a
married
second.
to
It's like, you married to her?
her?"
It's like,
Yes.
yeah.
And they
Man,
call
you're
me.
stronger than I.
No, the line is, and they call me
Me,
Superman.
Superman.
And he walks off. That one and the one where they
Her
played.
dressing up as Superman with a football helmet on. I would never forget that. Why? I was like, okay, you want to hide your hair, but instead of just wearing a wig, you wear a football helmet. You wear a Superman costume, found like some type of plate to put over your chest to make it seem like a man, but you're gonna put a football helmet on.
What's like the one where they got hired to play Martians or whatever,
Yeah.
and they had to make up their own language. And it's like I'm sure they had stuff in the script, and they just went, "Oh, we'll just follow." She probably looked and said, "Viv, just follow my lead."
Wait, who was there? Was there a Tony Curtis episode where it's just like the whole episode was about her not bothering him at all because Ricky knew that he was going to be at the same Riviera hotel that they were at?
Oh, when they do the Ricky Goes to Hollywood for the screen
Right,
test one. And the first of those episodes, when he agrees to take her, they drive
right.
and they sing California Here I Come. The
Mhm.
first of those episodes ends with them singing California Here I Come, because that was the first of the travel
Right.
seasons. Because
Them going out west.
first they went out to Hollywood, and the one with her. My favorite of those is the one with her and John Wayne.
Oh my goodness! Why
I
you have to
love
bring
that
him
one
up? And now I was like, I remember
because
that episode. I remember those episodes, but I don't even
he
think he
was
could
so
keep a
you could
straight
tell.
face. I couldn't think.
No, but you could see he was so sweet. No matter how crazy it got, he was just like, you could see there's a little voice in his head going, "Just say the lines, just say the lines. You're gonna get paid, and you love her. Just go with it.
Go with it. It's like, don't worry about the craziness. Just go with her. It's
Just
like,
go with it."
I'm not. It's like, I'm not a comedy actor, but just go along. That's the reason why I love the Fred McMurray was, especially the telephone part of it. It's like, I'm going to tell you what to say. I'm like,
And the funny thing is, McMurray didn't start out as a comic actor because
right.
one of his earlier screen roles, he plays a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
He realized early on that he did better with comedy than drama.
He,
Um,
he, 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 to me, is the equivalent to a Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen
he
was
was
a very dramatic actor before he became Frank, before he went over to television and became Frank Drebin.
before he did the Naked Gun, and the only and
No,
prior
Police Squad. Police
oh
Squad came
Police
before
Squad,
Naked. Yeah.
Naked Gun was the movie
Mm-hmm.
from the files of Police
Police
Squad.
Squad.
Sorry about that. Before that, he would occasionally do. He was the dapper older gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and he would occasionally do spots on shows like The Partridge Family. You know, he and Shirley, you know, he would have a date with Shirley Jones's character or something like that. He was the well-to-do, attractive, slightly older man. And that was the most comedy he did. And
Well,
even then he
that and the
played it
bits that he
straight.
did with Airplane, and the bits that he did with Airplane.
Yeah, but I'm saying before he went into comedy, the
Right. He was
closest he
known
got to
for things
comedy,
like Forbidden Planet and stuff like that.
and it was he was always playing a straight guy. It was never for the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So when he did Police Squad, you know, but it was also because certain actors in their later years found out that comedy was better for them. George, what's his name, who did the Dracula? He did a Dracula one. Hamilton, George Hamilton, found out as he got older that comedy suited him. He had reached an age where comedy just suited him better. Before that, he was the handsome young man. And I remember him from Lighten a Piazza.
Well, I always thought of him as like he always played the man of bronze, the bronze hot throb that everybody wants to get with.
But it was always serious, even if the girl was a little kooky. It was always the serious romantic role. And then when he got older and realized he was aging out of the romantic lead, he realized he could do, you know, people were like, hey, there's a comedy role. Maybe you can do that. And he was realizing, yeah, okay, I can do this. You know, and like I said, I loved him in the Dracula because he was so good in Dracula. For those of you who don't remember, back when we used to, you know, entertain each other by doing shadow puppets on cave walls. George Hamilton, look it up. Did a comedic Dracula wherein he and Paula Prentice and her then husband, because they hadn't divorced at that time, they were still a couple. The husband was playing this psychiatrist. She was his ex-wife coming to him for therapy, and she falls for Dracula. And she does, and the joke at the end of the movie, and I don't know why I was always remember that joke, is Dracula turns her, they go off. And there's a funny part, the guy who plays Van Helsing and Dracula knock each other out because they're trying to hypnotize each other. It's very hilarious, but they fly off together, and she hasn't paid him for, he's been her therapist for years, even after the divorce, and she's never paid him. They fly off together as bats, and her last thing is she gives him a check for all the therapy because Dracula's richer than anybody, and so she finally pays him what she owes him for all the therapy. He's like, she never paid me for years. Because this little paper, they go poof and become bats and fly off, and this little paper comes fluttering down, and he catches it and goes, what is it? He goes, it's a check. She paid me for all her therapy. She's like, yep, see, she's cured. She just needed to become a vampire. It's funny because Hamilton played Dracula, and I think, what's his name, also played Dracula. I think they both played some version of Dracula, though Hamilton's Dracula was more popular.
Right.
Because he also danced. Remember? He got up and he was dancing to I Love the Nightlight. The Nightlight. I Love the Nightlight. I got the boogie on the disco.
Oh my goodness! That again, that going back a couple of years now.
A couple?
I mean, nice. I'm not putting people's ages out there, because it's like if I did that, I have to put my own age out there. It's like, yeah, everybody going like you getting ancient, just as ancient too. Don't think no chicken.
I ain't scared. Let me tell you a story about a worm. He's the funkiest worm in the world. Remember that, the Funky Worm song? It opens with the old lady. I want to think about the worm. I'm old enough I can do the opening to the Funky Worm song.
No. That's messed up. But now
Courtney's
you
just sitting
got me
there
thinking
rolling
about
her
going
eyes.
back and watching Leslie Nielsen as Mr. Magoo now.
See, I didn't really like him as much as Mr. Magoo. I didn't think, and I think part of it was because I grew up with the Mr. Magoo cartoons,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very loyal to Jim Backus, especially towards the end, because one of the things he was trying to do that they later did on PBS with the Wishbone show,
Mm-hmm.
was he was trying to present classical literature to children in a way that he thought it would get them interested. And I have his musical version of Dickens' A Christmas Carol that I bought off Amazon. And then here on YouTube, I found his Frankenstein. But I do know along with that, he also did Charles Lewis Stevenson's, the one with Jim, the little boy Jim.
What?
Treasure
First,
Island.
Treasure
Treasure
Island,
Island.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
He did Treasure Island. I think there were five in total that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I can't remember what the other two was. But his version of Frankenstein was closer to the original book. And even though it was done in that format, and they had to make it into a shorter version, it was closer to the book where he creates the creature gets away from him and then comes back and demands that he make him a bride because he wants to breed. He's lonely. He's by himself. He's tired of being alone. He wants a mate that he can breed with. Though in the cartoon, and in some way they worked that way to the book, where his intention was he was going to breed his own master race. And of course, Mr. Magoo's Frankenstein says, no, I'm not going to do that. But
Well, now you're making me think about all the mishap because again, Mr. Magoo didn't have a if I could say a female companion because the female companion that was always on the show was trying to take advantage of him to a certain degree.
I don't remember that. I remember he in this series he was an actor. He was a stage actor. The problem was he needed glasses.
He always had to
But
wear his glasses. When his glasses are off, that's when all the hijinks is because he will always
his
think
ego was
he couldn't see who people really were. And he was always mistaking people for Charlie and his nephew and all this other stuff. And it's just like
well also
walking in other people's house, like, what are you doing in my house?
well it's like the ending joke that he puts into the story part of A Christmas Carol
Mm-hmm.
is door knocker, which is a lion's head.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Scrooge gets home, he sees it and he thinks he's looking at, for a second, it looks like Jacob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Magoo thinks it's not Marley, it's something, he calls it something else, Charlie or something like that. And when at the end of the play, he's like, oh, good Charlie. And the lion's head just looking at the audience like, yeah, it's a living. You know? And then but they always open those where he's gonna perform it like a play.
Mm-hmm.
The books are a production that he's doing. So, and of course they always open with a comedy bit because he doesn't have his glasses on, he can't see. And then he goes and he does the thing perfectly, and then afterwards there's a big screw up. My intention is to look them up and try to get all five.
Right.
That's my intention. Like I said, I found A Christmas Carol on Amazon, and I know as long as I keep my Amazon account, my
Mm-hmm.
Prime Video account, I have it because
See,
I bought it off Prime Video. So as long as I keep that account, it's mine. If I
see, I
lose
have
that account, it's gone, which would make me very sad. But I'm now looking for those other three.
yeah, I have great respect for Jim Backus as a voice actor because that wasn't the only character that he did. I can't think of all of them, just like with Ed Asner. I have a lot of
Yeah.
respect for Ed Asner because he's done a lot of voice acting too here, and he is a proponent for cartoons. He's like, yeah, let's do animated. If it leads kids to start reading and start being better people, yeah, I would do it.
Why not?
Whether it be good guys or bad guys.
Oh, and while we're at it, all you people bitching and moaning about Travis Willingham doing Zephyroth in the new thingy that's come out before, because there are some idiots out there. It's the one with Zephyroth. Hold on, Courtney. Stupid question. The game that has Sephiroth in it. Yes.
Could have just asked me Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy
rebooting
7.
Yeah, they're rebooting it.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Mercer wanted to do Sephiroth, but they chose Travis for that role instead. Matt will be in it. He's voicing another character. He's just not voicing Sephiroth. And a group of fanboys who will probably never play the game, but just anything comes up, they have something to say. And it's like, you're not going to even play the game anyway, unless you can steal a free version of it. We're like, Travis has no experience. It's like, hello, did you not watch Full Metal Alchemist? Who do you think did the English dub for Roy?
Mm-hmm.
And Laura Bailey, who is his wife, was Lust. So that part where she talks about
your favorite part that you always talk about.
It sounds like a seduction. They weren't married.
It sounds very intimate. It sounds intimate beyond intimate because of the people that they got to play it.
But and it's like, and then he's done, like, he has at least 100 credits, anime credits to his name. So for he's
going to be fine.
But for somebody to get up who doesn't know this genre or any of his past, to get up and bitch and moan, it's like, before y'all start yelling about something, little boys, get your phone, type in Travis Willingham or whoever you want to bitch and moan about, and then see their credits. There's not anybody on that group, that cast, who does not have a resume. Marisha Ray, aka Mrs. Matt Mercer, was the one with the least resume, but she also had a lot of promise, which is why she was brought into that group. So yeah, y'all need to learn to recognize and shut your asses up. Sorry, that's my rant.
No, that's perfectly fine, because it's better than me, because I'm up here and be like, you know what? When you don't do your homework, you just look silly. And it's easy to look silly out here on the interwebs.
Especially, like I said, you have not looked him up. And there are so many roles he's done. When I first found out that he was Roy Mustang, because I'd seen him in Critical Role, and it's like, no. Because Travis Willingham has a gravelly Texas voice. And it's like,
but again, even with a gravelly Texas voice, he was Roy Mustang for both the original and Brotherhood. Yes. And I'm up there like, yeah, not too many people could pull off Roy Mustang.
And you believe him, whether he's cracking a joke, whether it's something that is tearing the soul out of him. You believe him. And he's done all sorts of roles since then. And it's like, why? Why would you, if you don't know, shut up? Or better yet, find us elders and ask us questions so we can set you on the right path. Because obviously, you little boys, y'all need a spanking. Okay? The best part of waking up.
The best part of waking up is Auntie Moo on your butt.
Sam Regal's gonna kill me now. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. He's gonna be banging on my door.
I want my copyright residuals. I want my money. I want my money.
I wanted everything for that jingle. That was his first outing.
Mm-hmm.
He won an Emmy for that jingle. And Folgers, every time they changed it, they had to pay him. It was like, yeah, baby, that's because he knew what he was doing. You know, and of course,
now, see, now
anybody
you're
who
making me
wonders
think about what we saw on here with the evolution of Kermit the Frog. Because people don't realize Kermit the Frog came from, I forgot the name of the coffee.
Oh, that coffee. Oh, that was a local. That was a local coffee thing, though. But oh my goodness, you know. But it does show how
it
those were
shows how.
some really psychotic commercials, but it does give you a clear view into Henson's process.
Mm-hmm.
And how he refined every time they did those commercials. He was refining the characters. He was refining copy, delivery, all of that. And of course, and because of that, that's why Sesame Street was such a powerhouse show of children's programming for like 40 years. Because in part to what Jim Henson and his folks did. You know, now if they could just take a step back, watch what they did. Is there a serial killer in your house? Because the lights just went off.
No.
Okay, because I was about to say your screen just went dark there for a second. I was
because I went over to IDMB because I was looking up something real quick.
For a second there, I was like, okay, any minute, some dude with a mask will come up behind Joe. What?
Oh, that would be a jump scare for forever. Yeah, I'm just looking at her filmography because I'm trying to think of the movie that started everything here.
Which movie? For Henson?
No, for Goldie Hawn, because again,
one of her earliest hits.
It's like I'm looking at one called Cactus Flower from like 1969.
Cactus Flower. There's a girl in my suit. Is that the stage play?
You know, after Laughing, I'm trying to think what movie made her a household name again after Laughing.
Butterflies Are Free. No, is it Butterflies Are Free? No, Butterflies Are Free is an ABC movie. Sorry. Or is it? I think it could be Butterflies Are Free. Look it up.
Yeah, I forgot that she played in a version of Shampoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Butterflies Are Free is 1972.
And that came right on the heels of Laughing. In fact, I think they may have been still doing Laughing when she got Butterflies.
Then you got Sugarland Express.
Yes.
Which is 1974.
That's the one where she's the mom.
The Girl from Petroka is 1974. Then Shampoo. Then The Duchess and the Dirtwater Fox.
Yes, that's the Western she did.
Right.
And everybody was like, oh my God, she's got a great butt. I'm like, okay, that's all you can talk about her performances. Yeah. She's got a great butt.
Yeah. Then you have Foul Play and then Lovers and Liars. So that was, you know, she was dying off until, you know, she played Judy Benjamin in Private Benjamin.
Yeah. Foul Play is the one she did Foul Play is the one she did that had Dudley Moore in it. That's the one she did with what's his name in Dudley Moore, because Dudley Moore he's a British conductor, and he's come over to direct the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra, the SFO, the San Francisco Orchestra.
I forgot about House Sitters. That was 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think one of her last movies that people really know her from was The First Wife's Club.
Yes, I think that was one of the last ones she did.
No, that can't be that. Well, unless Snatch or SPF 18 did not come to. Well, actually, I don't consider SPF 18 a movie because she was just only a narrator. If Snatch never came out to theaters, then I believe that would have been her last movie.
Her last big movie was First.
She starred with Amy Schumer in Snatched.
Okay,
First in 2017.
Okay, First Wives Club was her last big movie.
Right. Okay.
And that was the power movie because that was her, Bette Midler. There was four of them. It
Right.
was her, Bette Midler, and Ivana Trump actually got a she got a cameo.
Oh wow, I did not realize that. The Banger Sisters, Susan Sarandon before she was Mom Racer in
Yeah,
Speed Racer.
that was a great film. That was such a great film.
Yeah.
I love that film. They were, especially because they were playing roles that were so opposite who they were. Sarandon was more the hippy dippy one in real life, and Han was more the straight laced corporate. And they switched those roles, and they did them so well. They played off each other so well. It's a great film. It is. If you have not seen The Banger Sisters, it's a lot of fun, especially when Goldie Hawn convinces Sarandon this. They find an old joint. They're going through. They're going through pictures and stuff. And the reason they're called the Banger Sisters is a name they did not pick. They're two women. They came up in the rock scene, the 60s and 70s rock scene. And they were called the Banger Sisters because of all the rock stars they'd slept with.
Right.
And they found in Sarandon's possession this old suitcase that's got pictures of all the penises of all the rock stars they ever banged, and an old joint.
And they just the reminiscent scene.
They lit one up and went through. Went down memory
and it was down the line. It's like, yeah, that was one was disappointing, huh? Then it's like I was like, I'm surprised that only lasts 30 seconds. Like, what the and it was just weird because it's like halfway through they was like, I want some munchies. It's like, you know what? I don't need a munchie. I kind of wish I had this one right now. I'm like, oh no.
But
it fits the characters that they was playing.
Yes, it was a very great film. And like I said, that's when it's on my list of things I have to find on Fandango when I got enough money to pay for it. Oh, good news. My tax bill is down to $268.
Yay.
So I have a friend who's got software. So she's running all my forms through her software.
Okay.
And running my forms through her software, she was like, yeah, that's because when they told you to add this, they also should have told you to add this and this and then this, and that would have. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's like the forms this year are so complicated, you know, because it used to be a 1040, a Schedule C, a Schedule D, and a profit and loss statement, and you were done. At least I was, you know, and it was like, I didn't know them anything. They didn't know me anything. Bingo, bango, bongo. You know, upload them forms and put this baby to bed. And I didn't, and I'll see you next year. So, you know, this year it's just been so crazy. And I still got to send Lexi Janulius $75.
Oh, wow.
For October. Well, my LLC registration is due. But if I get them paid, I think it's before October 31st, then it goes up to 100 from 75 to the 100. So if I can get them paid before the beginning of October, it's only going to be 75, which means I am not going to get the ink for Bertha until December or January. Because
right now I'm looking up Ed Asner to see what was the last movie he did. It's like he did a lot more television than actual theatrical movies here.
Yeah, Ed Asner, I think he started in movies and then transition. I think he transitioned to TV, especially
But
in his
I
elder
hope that
days.
his last movie wasn't what I think it is.
I think the last stuff he did was TV stuff. I know the last series of note he did was the Lou Grant.
Well, I've talked about the last theatrical movie that he did. Surprisingly enough, if I find it, I believe it was Up.
Yes, he
He
voiced
was the lead character in Up. I
he
believe that was
voiced
the
yeah,
last
that was the last
theatrical one.
film. I think he died shortly after they did Up.
No, he
Is
did
he
a
still
whole bunch
alive?
of other stuff. I think he did a whole bunch of other television stuff afterwards because he was in he was whatchamacallit's father in Cobra Kai. He was
Oh,
Johnny
okay.
Lawrence's father in Cobra Kai. So
Okay. I think he also voiced one of the cars, the Disney film Cars. I think he voices one of the cars, one of the older cars. It's in the little town that Lightning McQueen ends up in.
right.
I think it's like a big black
Dude,
Cadillac or
that's
something.
TV movie, TV series. I'm trying to see something that he was in. Faith, Hope, and Love. He
I
was
don't
in
know that one.
2019, and
Okay.
then after that, it was all TV series and made for TV movies and whatnot.
Okay.
When did he
Well,
do Up? Because it's like Cars, Cars Go. He was a car in Cars Go, but that was voice acting as
yeah,
well.
that's what I'm
But
saying. He did
that didn't really make it to theaters per
no,
se,
that one I think was straight to Disney Channel or straight to video.
right?
Trying to think
He
when
did a
did
lot of television shows.
yeah. Well, he was very big on TV. I
I know
mean,
that he did Boondocks and all the other stuff here. He has Law and Order SVU credits.
playing playing Lou Grant opposite Mary Tyler Moore was definitely one of the better decisions he'd ever made because
I believe that. I
kept
believe that
him that
wholeheartedly.
kept him moving. That series, it kept his name prominent, especially among the production side.
Wow, I didn't know that Up was that long ago. That was
Hmm.
2009.
Hmm. Charles got a little teary at that. You know, Charles got a
Yeah,
little
because I
teary at that
remember
movie.
that, most people don't remember he actually voiced Granny Goodness in one of the DC
Oh, that's right.
animated
He
movies.
voiced Granny Goodness in not DC Dark. I'm trying to remember which. I think he did her in a couple of.
Mhm.
I think he did a couple of DC animated as Granny Goodness
Goodness, yep.
because I think in the Teen Titans, one of the Teen Titans series, I think he plays.
No, I think the last series of Teen Titans they switched over to voice acting because they had somebody else become Gretchen Good, which was the alter ego of Granny Goodness
Okay,
while she was on Earth. But
yeah,
before then, it was Ed Asner. Ed Asner
bec-
was
okay,
primarily
because
Granny Goodness.
there's one in which Beast Boy is an actor.
Right.
And Gretchen Goodness
that
is
was the latest
producing,
seasons of Young Justice.
yes, Young Justice, because Gretchen Goodness is producing this.
Gretchen
Gretchen
Good.
Good is producing the series that he stars in.
Hmm.
And then of course it comes out that Gretchen Good is actually Granny Goodness. Um, so that much I do remember. At least I don't remember all of it, but every once in a while something
Well,
sticks.
most people don't realize that Granny Goodness actually is one of the few women that has been on Themyscira, actually training the Amazons.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
That was one of the weird parts of history dealing with Themyscira, Wonder Woman, and the connection between um, Apocalypse and Themyscira.
Ah, okay. That
Granny Goodness trained some of the Amazons, and she took a lot of the techniques that she learned there
back over
to
to
Apocalypse and trained the female Furies using
got
some
it.
of it.
Okay, which explains why they fight as well as they do because
Mhm.
she went and learned from some of the best. So yeah, that
Well,
makes
that's
sense.
the thing. I don't know who predates who, because we don't know how old Granny Goodness is, especially since she is technically the consort of Darkseid.
She's also, isn't she supposed to be immortal or something like that?
I don't know if she's immortal or not.
Or
That's the
except,
thing that I don't know.
well, at least exceptionally long lived.
Yes, she is very long lived.
Yeah,
For
if
her to
she's
be the
not
consort of
of
Darkseid, she is
dark
long
side,
lived.
she is exceptionally long lived.
But that's one of
Um,
the reasons why, if you ever, if I could ever recommend series for you to read, there was a Female Furies book that came out in the 2000. It was a 6-issue miniseries.
ooh, I have
You
to look it
need to
up.
read that because that would change your perspective on characters like Granny Goodness, Big Barda, and a few other of the Female Furies.
I like my villains to be villains. Thank you. But yeah,
But the thing
okay.
is, no, it's not about the villains being villains, but it shows you kind of like the anarchy of Apocalypse and why Granny Goodness was so hard on the Female Furies.
Because they have to survive. If
It's
she,
not it's not it was it
I
wasn't
get the
just it
point that if
wasn't
she
just
hadn't
survival.
trained them to be the way they were, they would not have survived in that arena within that system. They would not have survived. I get that.
That system was uber misogynistic.
Yes, and I
And that
think
was the thing. Out of everybody that was there, Granny Goodness technically outranks every male. But
which
Darkseid
probably
allows a lot of the other generals to overtalk, disallow Granny's commands and everything, despite the fact that Granny was right. Granny took exception to that.
yeah.
And she was like, look, I'm about to create a female force that rivals to no one on Apocalypse. She successfully did that with the
Yeah.
Female Furies. But what ended up happening is that one of the other generals tried to pull a fast one on one of the Female Furies. She stood up for herself, and let's just say that she got unalived.
Yeah,
And
that tracks.
after that, it was a big separation that they up here is like women were going to be treated like this, men is going to be treated like this, and Darkseid being the anarchist that he is, and just being who he is like I am what I am. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And it's not like he didn't care because of having ego. It's like to him it was a trivial matter. It's like why would I care about people's egos? We're doing this to try to bring about peace in my vision, not anybody else's. So if people's ego get in the way, so be it. Let their ego get broken. Let their egos, be trashed, stomped on, and all this other stuff.
I always wonder what Apocalypse would have been like if Granny had taken over.
Again, nobody has more authority on Apocalypse than Granny,
But what
unless that individual gets an audience with Darkseid directly.
what I'm saying is, had Granny been able to take Darkseid out, what then would Apocalypse had become?
That would be interesting because out of all of them, Granny is the only one that ever saw Darkseid in his actual form. People don't
Nobody
realize
knows
that.
him
People don't
better.
realize that the man that they see in the blue and the granite type body, that's not Darkseid. That's a construct of his. That's not his true form. That's the reason why it's like, oh, you destroyed that body. Here comes another one out of nowhere. It's like, oh, you thought you destroyed me? No, Granny is the only one that had ever seen him in his natural form.
And that's what I'm saying. Had Granny ever decided she wanted control,
To portray him.
I don't know if he would have survived it, especially if she'd have had
The-
the Furies with her.
well, that's the thing. Could Granny wield his power in such a way where it doesn't make her mad?
That's the big question. And it would be interesting to see a book in which they ask that question.
That would be a
That
good
would make a
Elseworlds.
that would
It
make
would
a
be a
hell
good
of
Elseworlds. It would be a good Elseworlds to write because, again, dealing with all the different trainings that Granny has taken both male and females through.
Mhm. I think it would be an interesting story to write because it would be an interesting test, excuse me, of her mettle,
Mm-hmm.
of her strength, of her sanity. How how far would she be willing to go? Also, would she then take Apocalypse in a different direction? Not saying, oh, it's going to be all peace and rainbows and stuff.
No, it wouldn't be peace and rainbows or anything, but a lot of the stuff that she had to endure,
That's what I'm saying.
the misogyny that she had to endure. I'll be afraid for all those people that did her wrong.
it would be a very different Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And
Would it be
in
a
some
space
ways
like
it might be.
Hermasera? That's the question. That would be the better question.
Yeah, and also I think in regards to that, the universe would probably breathe at least for a moment a collective sigh of relief.
Until she figured out what she really wanted to do.
Until she figured, but what I'm saying is, and she might, in regards to understanding what Darkseid leads them to, she might just decide what we have is what we have. Now come after us, we'll flatten you. But what we have is what we have. We're keeping what we've got. Rest of y'all, go, at least for now, go exist. We don't care.
Or would she be able to do what Darkseid couldn't do, which is master the anti-life equation?
I kind of think Granny could. There's something about Granny. There's something about, because with Granny, Darkseid, he powers through. If he can't outthink it, he'll just power through it. Granny's not that type. She has always had to play the longer, more subversive game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of that, yeah, I think she could. I could be wrong, but I believe that she could. But like I said, that's just me.
See, I go based upon what they did in history, because in history, Scott Free, Mr. Miracle, had mastered it, or at least mastered one form of it. I believe Barter could master it if given the opportunity to train for it. Silo has mastered it on Earth, being his protege as the next Mr. Miracle. He had mastered it at one time. I believe Granny could.
That's what I'm saying. I think
if given the opportunity to really understand what it was.
And that
Even
could change
in
her.
the animated series, in the animated stuff, even Luthor figured it out and was able
And,
to use it.
and what I'm saying is it could change her perspective on the way she would do things. And like I said, she might just decide what we have is what we have.
Mm-hmm.
We can change things so it's not as oppressive, but we're going to run it our way. The rest of y'all, go ahead and live your lives. Just, don't come messing with us. We're not gonna messing with you.
For part of me, don't see it that way. I believe Grady would have been like, "It is what it is. When we come to you, just please give us what we need. No harm will come to you."
And that would be different. Instead of, hey, you got something we want, you got something we need. We're not gonna ask, we're not gonna negotiate, we're just gonna take it. And if we have to destroy you to get it, well, sucks to be you. I think Granny would be more of a, hey, we need this. I think
We
Granny
need
would be,
this. We're not trying to destroy your way of life.
that's what I'm
Give
saying.
it to us. You'll be
Granny
left
would be
alone.
more, let's negotiate. Maybe there's something we have that you could use in return for what you have that we need. That's what I'm saying. Granny would deal with things in a slightly more equitable. Now, if she was pressed to the point where it was the longer they delayed, because there would always be that one asshole who decides, yeah, okay, we could be nice about this, but then we just I just don't think she's got the balls. And then the next thing you know, if anybody's left in that quadrant, it's like, yeah, your ass didn't think she had the balls.
Well, that's the
Thanks.
thing. That's the thing about Grady Goodness. I honestly feel this way. If you had something that was needed, she comes to you, be like, give it to us. Nothing would come, no harm would come to you. You don't give it to her. The next thing that she would do is like, okay, fine. Here's a
Bye.
present. And that present could be anything from what he did with Garfield Logan, with the television network and the corporation that did all this good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It got you thinking, oh, everything is hunky dory. Our lives are even better. And she would plant that suggestion. Give Apocalypse this. And make you think that it was your idea that you gave it to him. Even though now you're subjugated to
You're
her.
subjugated, but you don't think you are.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is you've been subjugated, but you think
You think you are still up
you
under
got the
free
better,
will and all this other stuff,
and
but
you
you're
got the better
subjugated.
end of the deal because you got something for nothing. And that's what I'm saying. Granny would go about it in a way where you would have bent over, dropped your pants, and said, and not realize that's exactly every once in a while you go, why I got this pain in my butt? But other than that, you're not really realizing what Granny's done. And by the
Mm-hmm.
time, and if you do, it's too
By
late.
the time you wake up from it, it's kind of like a little bit too late, or guess what? We're subjugated. If we fight, she will destroy us.
She's gonna wear us out, So that, but I'm saying is, it would be a different way than,
Then trying to power through like Darkseid would have.
yeah,
Darkseid would hit the parademons and be like, wipe them out.
yeah,
Wipe them out. It's like,
and
Gray would be like, nope, we got
that's what I'm
control of
saying.
all of this other stuff now.
That's what I'm saying.
You can play nice, or
you can,
we just take all these other resources and plus what we want, and you die. That's before we even send troops your way.
like I said, I think that would be a really interesting book to read. I think it would. So yeah, DC, if you're listening, get up on that. Okay,
No, no. If
get up on that.
DC is listening here, I want my copyrights for the ideas. It has been documented
You
in
got
this
it on the show,
video.
baby.
You
You
cannot
owe us
steal it
checks.
from us.
You owe us checks. Okay, you owe us checks. Call me, baby. Call me. And no, I'm not cheap. You didn't find me standing on the street corner. I am not cheap. Hey, don't you be laughing and then I come in there and whack you.
Why does his timing have to be so perfect? It's like, it's like
right as I'm speaking, it's like
it's
I
like
said, I
Elaine's
think
not
for
out
the
there like, no, hey, beep beep. She's not up. She's not out there like that. She's not out there like no Donna Summer song.
yeah, no, beep beep, no, we ain't going there. You just because then I
She's
will
not
be in
out there like
trouble.
that.
You'll
No,
be wondering why your
no,
butt
but
hurt.
that it would make sense, and it will hold to a lot of the lore about dealing with New Genesis, Apocalypse, the female Furies, Mr. Miracle, the Mr. Miracle as far as Scott Free is concerned. All that with it's like I still have to read the Barda, the young teen version of Barda
And
to
I can,
understand why she was called the Breaker of Men.
and I think Granny would elevate Barda to the role that she now plays under Apocalypse.
Well, she turned against she
under,
turned against Granny. She's officially her own entity because she turned against Granny.
But I think if Granny took out Darkseid, I think she would reach out to Barda.
Well, if Granny took out,
I think it would be an interesting conversation. I think there would be a conversation, and it would be interesting.
Well, if the timeline works the way that it does, if Granny took out Darkseid, as the female Furies got into power, there would have been no reason for Barda to leave because Scott would have never left.
Yeah.
Because remember, Scott was in danger because he did something that nobody else have done. And that was escape the X Pits. And for those who don't know what the X Pits is, the X Pits is Granny's ultimate training ground for ultimate obedience.
You know, just thinking.
So Scott would have never escaped the X Pits if that was correct. Because if Granny would have taken out Darkseid, the deal between Darkseid and the High Father ends.
Yeah.
Which means that Orion is like, the High Father taking Orion as his son and Darkseid taking Scott as his son could technically cease.
Yeah.
Because technically that was the reason why the whole technicality thing is the technicality was Granny is technically Scott's stepmom.
Okay.
I think Darkseid had 3 blood sons. Orion,
Scott,
Calibac, and Desaad.
Oh, okay.
High Father only had 1 blood related son, and that was Scott.
That's Scott. Okay.
So the tree between New Genesis and Apocalypse is that they switched their eldest son. So Orion being the eldest and Scott being the eldest, they swapped.
Yeah. And then that's
the reason why that treaty worked out for many of years.
What I'm saying is Barda would have never left. Granny would have elevated Barda to the position she holds. It would have been a different universe.
Barda wouldn't have to worry about the curse that was placed upon her bloodline either because of her mom, Big Brita.
So what I'm saying, it would be
it would have been a lot of changes here.
And it would be, like I said, it would be an interesting book to read. It would be great. Hey, a graphic novel miniseries. I bet you'd be surprised. Who was that sold 300,000 books?
I forgot.
Was that Daredevil?
I forgot off the top of my head who sold 300,000 books, but
at Marvel they got fired. They were the.
I definitely forgot. If it's somebody in the modern age, I've already forgot. I probably have thought about reading it, but didn't. But getting back to the whole Barda thing, Barda would have everybody feared Steppenwolf. If Granny would have took out Darkseid, everybody would have feared Barda with,
Yeah.
with great reserve to know. Do you want to mess with Granny? No. If she sent Barda, just surrender.
Barter shows up at your door. What do you need? You're not going to even just, what do you need?
And that was the one thing about the one thing about the Furies that kind of pissed me off in modern day. After Barter left, they have never found another true leader that was of the capability of Barda. Barda could keep them in line because, well, actually, the person that was before Barda, the leader before Barda, because Barda was actually up under someone else before they killed her.
Okay, I didn't know.
And that was the big thing that caused the separation. That was the big thing that caused the separation between Granny and Barda.
Okay.
Granny being who she is and knowing that she was the consort and had as much power as she had, there was nothing that she can do because Darkseid allowed it to happen. She brought it to Darkseid's attention, but that other general also was there too.
See, DC, this would make a great what if, because go back to that point, and instead of her just going to Darkseid, she whoops his ass. She takes him out because she realizes he let this happen. He didn't have to. And she makes him pay for it. Now they got Granny. You know who's top of her list, don't you? Uh-huh. That bitch. He's gone. He is gone. She's not gonna even give it a second thought. That's it. He's done.
Oh, the Furies got him in the 6-issue miniseries. The Furies eventually got him in the very end.
But what I'm saying is,
Granny would have unalived him a lot quicker.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If she had taken out Darkseid, in fact, he might have tried to run because he'd have realized that, his ass was grass and she was the lawnmower. And that, it's like, can I run to Argentina? Because she gonna kill me. What I'm saying is, graphic novel miniseries going at that point, and then just saying a what if.
Mm-hmm.
How would things have turned out under Granny? I think that would be something people, men and women, I think would buy that book.
That's one of the things that I really wish people would get into, is that relationship between Darkseid and Granny Goodness, because I honestly truly feel that Darkseid loved Granny.
DC, you need to hire us to sit down and write this. You're gonna have to pay us a lot of money.
The only reason I say that because he gave her so much latitude.
You're gonna have to pay us a lot of money.
Even when she failed him, she did not go through as stringent as punishment. Sometimes she didn't receive any punishment because he perceived that her failure was not on her.
In other words, like I said, you need to pay us money because I want to move to Berkeley, and houses there ain't cheap. So you need to pay us a lot of money.
She wants to go back to California. I just wanted to be able to be like to say, aha, I wrote a decent DC book that made millions. I got my big old check where I can make mine just as powerful.
You need to pay us money, okay? You need to pay us money, real money, and we get a percentage of the sales. Because otherwise, I'm gonna have to show up at your house and you gonna wish there was a Granny Goodness to save you.
Well, okay? I wouldn't say that, but I'm going to have to say this: there got to be a special clause in my contract to keep her for using the stabbies on you guys. There'll be a special clause to be like, we will pay you $1.5 million to keep Elaine for using stabbies against us if she gets pissed off because we did underpay her.
Yeah, do it.
Even with that, I probably still feel that I could hire mercenaries strong enough to keep her from doing that.
No, John, you'd have to try to get John and Charles to give me the puppy eyes. You know, and Charles does not get. Charles has learned not to use the puppy eye. The puppy eyes is his weapon of last resort. You know, he knows like I have a hard time resisting the puppy eyes. So you have to get Charles, John, and Courtney to use the puppy eyes on me. Because that's their one weapon.
I don't know, because if they make you angry enough, I don't think that's going to be strong enough.
Courtney, can you give
Because
me the puppy
you would
eyes?
be like, I love you guys a lot, but there's a principle behind this.
It's the principle. He has to. They have to die. Just I'll bring you some muffins back. Back to I'll bring you some muffins. They go, muffins? Okay. That'd be the end of it. Yeah, DC just bend over, spread them, and hope I stop
But
before you get
but
you
that is a very
unalive.
good pitch for Elseworld, especially for characters that you guys are not really using. It's like you're not
Yeah,
doing a new gods or a Mr. Miracle as of right now, or female Furies, or anything dealing with Dark Side. Why
and we
not?
could we could throw in all sorts of guests and whatnot. This would be it would be drama. We would gut you, make you giggle. By the end of it, you would be like, just shut up and take more of my money. That would be it. All people would come to your office and go, are they going to do another book? People would like petition you to make us do another book. And we would say, shut up and give us all your money. And then we think about it. Not saying we agree. You have to pay us money just to think about it. Because, that's how we roll. Because I'm evil. Sorry. Joe's the nice person. I's evil.
No, you're not evil. You're more straightforward. I'm just more along the lines like, contract. You want me to do this? Okay. Here's everything lined up in a contract. If I don't get what I want in this contract, it does not look good for you. But I'll be more than happy, because it wouldn't be as much as I would like to write for somebody that established. I'd rather have my own be brought up, to be quite honest.
Yeah, but a job like that,
It's a
that's
great stepping stone to
it's a great
promote
stepping
this.
stone. Yeah, it gives us the chance, especially if it becomes a hit. It's like, what you want? Maybe I'll do it. Get stuff some marshmallows in my mouth, make out like I'm the Godfather. You
How
come here on.
how does a person like Granny take out somebody that just simply is? That, to me, as a pitch, should get people interested. This
Maybe.
is the same dark side that took out the Quintessence. This is the same dark side that you guys just used to reboot the DC universe again through DCKO.
So,
And
audience.
y'all allowed the heroes to succeed again. And this is a person that cannot be destroyed because he's just is.
So whoever's
We
watching
have
us
a
right
story
now,
elsewhere story where it could be a possibility that something that is can be taken out, and what would happen afterwards.
for you watching live and for you who will watch this later, remember this. Call DC. Keep calling DC. Bug them. Make them cry. And we'll send you free copies. Give us your name. Prove
Or I
that
could
you were
say,
one of the ones that went up and bugged DC.
or I could say,
I will give you an autograph copy.
Or I could say this here. Marvel, you had your chance. You had copies of AWF from way back when. I had a couple of contacts with some of your sales guys here. I wasn't going to go through your house of ideas where you could rip me off of characters and stuff to that magnitude. You knew that I was writing, has been doing writing and been in existence for almost 20 years. Y'all never came knocking at my door. So DC, here I am. There's a great pitch here. And to think, primetime Saturday night was originally my pitch for the grapplers.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
I wanted to make a grapplers video game. They kind of brushed me off. They're like, nah, that's dirt on my shoulder. They brushed me off like that. I kept all my designs and everything, and then a little known person by the name of Kimberly Mosberry says, like, that's a good idea. Why don't you just go ahead and do it? And we did it. We did AWF first because it's behind the scenes stuff, and then people was like, it's not enough pro wrestling. Primetime Saturday night hit, boom.
So yeah,
That could have
DC.
been Marvel. That could have been with Marvel, but no. Marvel
DC.
went into a different direction.
You want to make
But that
Marvel
goes to show
cry?
you, DC, that I am dedicated. I
You want to make
gave you
Marvel cry?
gave you a decent pitch here. It's not a surefire one, but it is a pitch that has never been attempted before with characters that nobody's using right now. And we're willing to play in your sandbox for Elseworlds. We're not creating anything new.
Nope.
We're playing in your sandbox.
Pay us like we white. That's all I ask.
He didn't have to go there.
Is that true?
I would say more along the lines, pay us like we're Eisner Award winners.
Ooh, yeah, even more so. Just give us money. Like I said, I need to move back to California. You need to give me money. It's
she missed her fun in the sun. That's pretty much what it is. She wants to move back to California. I can stay here.
I want to move back.
If I move anywhere, I probably would try to move to Japan where I could actually learn manga and learn manga storytelling a little bit better.
There's a manga
and then
museum.
transform it to something that American comics have never seen before.
There's a manga museum. You can go, you can read the books in the museum. And it's amazing. You can just sit and read. They got little areas where you can sit. People don't bother you, and you can read them. And depending on, can you read? And depending on whether you can read English or Japanese, they have the copies. It's a manga museum, and I think, if I remember, it's either very low priced or free.
Mm-hmm.
All they ask is that you respect the books. Don't tear nothing. Don't start nothing.
Don't start none, won't be none.
Yeah. That way you make
I understand. I understand that here.
That now, way, because if you mess up one of the books, you might make it back to your hotel and find some guy with, tattoos from the neck down, holding a katana, going, we need to talk.
Now you're making me think about the guy from Baki the Grappler, the guy from the Yakuza that is just like a tank. He's built like a tank.
Oh yeah, that's probably who they'd send.
It's like we're about to fight. It's like, no, we're not. No, we're not. I like my life. No, I'm not.
We're about to fight. No, baby. I'm about to. In fact, I wouldn't even get out. I wouldn't even say the words to run. Just turn and zip.
I will. No, even better. I will be like Muhammad Ali Jr. to Yojiro Hama. It's like, oh yeah, I know how to defeat your fight style. He laid down on the ground, ready to fight. It's like Muhammad Ali Jr. is like, oh yeah, there's two ways I could approach this. I could go ahead and move towards you and actually fight. However, in my sport of boxing, when you do something like that, that's a middle of defeat. So I could just walk away. Which one I'm going to do? And he walked away. He walked away. And Yojiro was so pissed. He was so pissed. He destroyed the hotel room afterwards.
I win. No, I'm not going to even. It's like, we need to talk. Whoop. I didn't know she could move that fast.
No, I would be like, we need to talk. I'd be like, here's your money. I'm out. What was that? What was that? It's like, what was that? 50,000 a year? Here you go. Bye. Nice doing business with you. Bye.
All you hear is boogity boogity.
But that's the situation. But that's the thing. As a writer, as an artist, you always want to grow. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to
I would
learn is
be.
like learn other people's storytelling styles and everything and try to incorporate it.
I that would be such a great challenge. I think that would to do a book like that
Mm-hmm.
would be such a great challenge. And I'm not kidding, DC. We're the one we thought it up. You need to come talk to us. You know,
Yeah. So people
but
who are out there that are fans of the show, you know what to do. Hype up this video. Send a link over to DC, whoever you have a contact over there at DC. If you think that's a great idea, let them know that we're available. And as you
yes,
can see, I do have comic credits behind my name.
he got
So it's
credit.
not like it's not like I haven't written, just done self-publishing. I have other magazine credits and stuff to that magnitude to my name. So I just don't hype the stuff up. I just don't hype the stuff that's like I am d. It's like, no, I don't do that.
That's
The
because
work
we're not.
speaks for itself. If you like what I do, you like it. And eventually you're gonna tell other people about it. But it's not my job to hype myself up to that degree, to almost to the point where it's almost like ego prone, megalomania. you know.
That's because we folks with integrity. You know, look it up in the dictionary. You'll get it. Anyway, you have something to review? Or would it be okay to end
Well,
early tonight?
I was
Because
still
I'm
thinking
falling
about
asleep.
I was still thinking about the title for this week. It's like I did see the trailer for Doomsday,
Oh, I have not seen the trailer. Um,
and I just hate the fact that a lot of people are kind of bad mouthing it already, talking about it's not
somebody wrote
set
a
up
review of
properly
it.
and this, that, and the other. And I talked to a couple of people who agree with me. Because if you look at Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole here, outside of the original Avengers movie, all of the major big movies were never truly set up.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, they should have did this, that, and the other. It's like, okay, fine. Here's the thing. Fantastic Four first, if y'all want a movie that set up what's going to happen in Doomsday, it was Fantastic Four First Steps. Because that's when we finally saw Doom approaching Franklin.
Yeah.
When we were up here was talking about Quantum Mania for Kang. I was up here, it's like, well, you had the Loki's TV series that kind of introduced the idea of Kang. Kang was not truly set up. It was through the TV series. The Marvels movie, we only got maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of Carol Danvers showing up in the Miss Marvel TV series to set up the Marvels. We had no idea what they're going to try to do in the Marvels, other than, oh, Carol shows up. Now the Marvels movie is being made. Y'all want to complain about stuff that is just so insignificant. It's like, no, they got control over this. They
Well,
have been doing pretty well with, hey, we introduced the character over here in the cinematic universe. Now you got all this time to speculate what we're going to do until we actually do the movie.
it's like the Odyssey.
Mhm.
You know, there are folks, and I just read a review of the Odyssey. I forgot a friend of mine had written it. And first of all, what certain folks don't realize is A, we're dealing with mythology. B, who do you think the ancient Greeks looked like? Because they weren't blue-eyed blonde folks running around there. Okay? They weren't. So you need to get that out your head. There were no blue-eyed blonde folks running around ancient Greece. They were a lot darker. They didn't start lightening up until they started heading out and had other folks coming in. Okay, but the ancient Greeks were actually rather dusky. So screaming and hollering about Zendaya playing Athena, or you didn't like this chick playing this character because she didn't look like the chick that was in the movie with that was in the movie with Orlando Bloom. Well, guess what? That's not what she would have looked like anyway. Okay, she was never described as some little blue-eyed blonde chick, you know. And also, I liked. I keep forgetting who wrote it, but he wrote it that this Odyssey is more of a like Odysseus paying for his disruption of Nostos. In other words, the Greek hospitality. He butchered it because they created the horse and then hid men inside it. So they bastardized the hospitality of the Trojans. They, in other words, it was through a very dirty trick. It was through a dirty move, and everything that 10 years it took him to get back home, and everything he went through was basically punishment for that sin, because he defiles that hospitality. He defiles their hospitality through a very dirty trick. And the next 10 years is him paying for that sin. And I thought, that's an interesting way to look at it. And I remember reading the Odyssey as a child, and knowing the story of the war and going, yeah, that makes sense. That this isn't some romanticized stuff. They won because they knew if they made it look like they had left them this gift, okay, we gone and we're just going to leave you this gift to say we're sorry or whatever. Because they don't make any declaration. They just leave the horse. The horse is just there. The Trojans don't know why the horse is there. It's just there. They get up and there it is. And they think that, okay, because also a good many of the men, yes, they died in battle, but a lot of them were also dying of the plague. They were also dying they were on an island and all of the fresh water most of the fresh water is being controlled by Troy. So they didn't get that much fresh water. They didn't have any food that they either didn't bring with them or couldn't hunt and get. So they were getting about half of that army that Menelaus and them brought. A good portion of that army died from the plague, starvation, malnutrition. There was all sorts of things. And the Trojans was like, okay, we outlasted them. Yay. Okay. This horrible trick that he plays. And you can say, yay, his ingenuity, but it's like, no, because he knew, having left it, that the Trojans would think it was a gift and they would bring it in under the rules of hospitality, because there were very specific rules that they all followed. Like when Hector's dad goes to get his son's body and he's asked, what are you going to do? He goes, he says, I just want my son's body. And he asks, how long is and he's asked, how long is the burial rites? And he tells him, well, this is what we do. And he goes, okay, we're not going to fight so that you can have your burial rites. There's a level of respect. There are rules for how they do things. And this was outside the rule. And so when you look at the story as a punishment, yeah, great. It was a stroke of genius, but at the same time, it was outside what they would consider the normal rules of war. especially if you think about he was supposed to be Athena is one of the main gods within this situation. Athena is a warrior goddess, but there are two different representation of war within those pantheons. Athena is the statesman of war. She does not blindly go out there and slaughter. It's thinking, it's calculation, it's working it out. It's knowing when when you get to a point where statecraft no longer works and you have to take up arms, not just going out there in Ares fashion, just killing everybody.
Well, that's what I was about to bring up, because I was like, if I remember this correctly, there's three.
Yeah, there's Athena,
There's
who is
Athena.
she's the more intellectual side of it.
No,
There's
she's the pragmatic.
well, I also think of that as somewhat
She's
intellectual.
pragmatic. Aries is the bloodlust, bloodthirsty, lusty.
It's just kill them all, and
And then you have Hera, which is the third, because Hera was considered the wisdom behind the techniques of war. She was also a goddess of war, but she was known more for the wisdom aspects of it. Because everybody would go to Hera. It's like, Hera, how do we defeat them? And then Athena gives them the guidance of being pragmatic, meaning that this is how you train. This is what you need to learn to be more of a marksman this way, to make certain that you hit the spots that way. And Aries is like, put everything you got into it.
It's just like, no, you need to think this out. You have to strategize. You have to understand the weakness, understand your strength and
That would
their
be Hera.
weakness.
That would be Hera. Hera would understand the weaknesses and everything and put it out there.
It all depends on whose pantheon you're looking at.
Right.
Because among the Greeks, it's primarily Athena and Ares.
Yeah, Athena is normally on the
Among the
battlefield.
Romans,
She's the battlefield general.
Among the Romans,
Uh-huh.
you might have Minerva or
Right.
Hera, but primarily among the Greeks,
It was Athena.
It's Athena or Ares, because Athena is more, she represents more wisdom, because they considered it that, because if you think about her origin story,
Mm-hmm.
Hephaestus had to split Zeus's head open so Athena could come out, because of the whole trick he played on her mother. And he swallowed. He realizes the mother is pregnant. He can't kill her, so he plays a trick on her. Let's see what animals we can turn into. Who can turn into the smallest animal? And she turns into a fly, and he swallows her. And he starts getting these headaches because she's making Athena's armor. And Hephaestus has to split his head open, because the headaches, the sound of her using the anvil and the hammer is so loud, and it's continuous. And so she's considered goddess of wisdom as well as a goddess of war, because she comes out fully grown from Zeus's head, as if she had brought out all his wisdom was birthed through her.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the older versions of that story. So I've always looked at it as like, yeah,
And that's another name I haven't heard in a long time. Hephaestus, the warrior.
The goddess. He is the goddess of the anvil.
Well, he's the one that makes all of their armor. He's
the smith.
He's on the precipice of what they consider hell, but he makes all the armor because the main forge is there.
Yeah, so he's the god. He's the god of the forge. Mm-hmm. He's like, for you Tolkien fans, he's like their Owlet.
Okay? Right, exactly.
For you Tolkien fans, except he doesn't make dwarves. Hephaestus doesn't make dwarves. But and the reason I know Hephaestus, because like I said, I read the books, and if you've ever watched Fantasia, the first one, they do it to to the Beethoven music. It's it's Mount Olympus that they're set in. And the first half, it's the Beethoven's Pastoral.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into where Zeus is looking at that. And he's like, oh, let's have some fun. And Hephaestus is he's crafting the lightning bolts that Zeus is then throwing.
Right. Well, for those who don't remember, who may not remember Fantasia, you might remember Justice League, because Hephaestus was there because of the simple fact that Ares went to Hephaestus to create this one armor of war that fed off of people's hate.
Ah, okay.
That's the reason why the so-called Forge of Legend almost got destroyed in Justice League, because Ares, kind of tricked Hephaestus. Well, he didn't trick Hephaestus. Hephaestus agreed to do it because of the simple fact that I forgot what deal. It wasn't even a deal that they had. Just like Hephaestus, just like, if you just leave me in the forge alone, I'll just go ahead and do this, and you just get out my hair.
And I believe, I'm trying to remember, Aphrodite is given to Hephaestus as a wife.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know. See there, we went back to comics, and then you learned something.
Yep.
We learned you something, children.
Now,
we learned you, children.
According to the cartoon, Hephaestus is the reason why the Bodice costume of Wonder Woman is the way that it is. In Justice League, they said that he created that armor for Hippolyta, not for Diana. It was done for Hippolyta. It just happened to fit Diana a bit better.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Hephaestus is also a lame god. One of his legs, I always thought that really interesting in Greek mythology, that one of Hephaestus' legs was deformed.
Right. He always dragged one foot. It's like when his foot was dragged. I wasn't sure if he was if he had club foot, or it was the actual leg that was lame.
Yeah. But up here, waist up, he's like Mr. Muscle Man. Waist down.
Yeah, waist down, one of his legs is almost like a twig.
Yeah. I always thought that was a really interesting way to depict a god as a child. I used to ask that question, and people would just look at me like, can you go find here's a candy bar, go eat your candy bar, shut up.
But that was the thing about Hephaestus, because all the other gods reverenced him because of his intelligence. He could make just about anything in that forge, and nothing else could technically defeat it. Which made me think about, what if Hephaestus actually had a good leg?
I think if Hephaestus
would Hephaestus been able to beat the whatchamacallit, the Zeus's parents?
Oh, okay. The Furies?
No, Zeus's parents. The
if he had two good legs, if he had been able to beat
the Titans, if he was able to beat the Titans by himself, because the Titans could not beat whatever he made in that forge.
Yeah, anything he created, they couldn't withstand. But I think also, though, the way Hephaestus created things was also often enough, it was somebody went and Zeus made a request. Can you make me this? And so whatever he would make did not fail. But he didn't just get up and make something and go, oh, look, I made this thing. It was Zeus or Hippolyta or someone would go, can you make this? And he would make it. So it was, he had skill. I'm not sure, though, if he had creativity in that regard. There's very little.
If he didn't have that bad leg, I always think that he would have been one of his generals, would have been one of the few
One
people
of
that Zeus
Zeus's.
would have considered a general, which means that he would have more latitude to create whatever he needed.
But also, I think it would have also made Zeus a little
Well, Zeus
concerned.
would have been jealous.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Even as
Zeus,
big brother Zeus, because remember that's his big one of his bigger brothers. That was one of his older brothers. So,
but I think also he would have been a little concerned because to have a god of that magnitude who not only could create these things, but then had the physical power to wield it against him. Because let us not forget, Zeus was his father's son. And
that is true, but then again,
the idea
he
that
never could defeat Poseidon.
no, but Poseidon also, his relationship with Poseidon was very much of you go do what you want in the sea. I'll take care of the land. I'm not going to tell you how to run the sea. I'm not
But
going
they're
to tell you
brothers.
how. Yeah, they're brothers. But what I'm saying is they early on had that agreement.
Right.
I'll manage the land. You may manage the sea, and however, unless it's someone specific that I'm trying to
But
get
yeah,
to somewhere
I
because
still
of
have
something.
I,
It was they sort of just, and I think because Poseidon also respected him. But I
that's
think
true.
that Poseidon not decided. Poseidon was happy with what he had, but I think had this Poseidon actually gotten up and said, I could have, I should have, it would have been it would have been a definite different story. It would
But I
have
do have to
definitely been
bring
a
it up
much
that Hephaestus did perfected both the master boat and the trident for
yeah,
each
those were
one of
both
them.
eat
And
and
if it wasn't for if like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that Hephaestus did both for them, they would have never maintained a balance of power. If he would have made one weaker than the other, that balance of power would have shifted. Which
and like
makes me believe that if Hephaestus had a good leg,
it would have been
there
a
was
different
nothing
story.
that Zeus could have done other than to respect Hephaestus enough as an older brother to allow him to create. He would never want that idea coming into his head that I'm more powerful than him.
Like I said, it's like the thing with Poseidon. It's like
Mhm.
I've got this, you have that. We respect each other. I ain't gonna try and come take over your stuff. Sort of a don't start nothing, won't be nothing
Right.
truce. And I think it would, and um, I think with Hephaestus, it would have had to be they would have had to rule as a triumvirate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it would have had to, but I think it says a lot to Poseidon's um makeup in the point that was he was happy enough with what he had. He did not desire the
There was no
land.
need.
Yeah,
There was no need for him to prove that he was better than Zeus. That was the whole thing.
and it's like what's his name with the who takes is that Eurydice for his bride? What's his name who runs the
Oh,
afterlife?
I forgot. No, you talking about Ares' wife.
No, we're talking not. Oh, is Eurydice Ares' wife?
I believe that's Ares' wife
No, who's the one? It's
because you
her mother
remember
is the goddess of
Hades is
Hades.
over Hades is over their version of death.
It's the afterlife, but he takes the daughter of the goddess of spring,
Mm-hmm.
Persephone. Thank you. He
Stephanie, yeah.
takes Persephone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Persephone at least agrees to stay at least because it's like she comes to where she loves Hades. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same, and it's an interesting thing because on the one hand, she loves and honors her mom. But on the other hand, this dude listens to her. This
Well,
dude
or
listens
at
to
least that's
her.
the game that Hades kind of play with her. It's like, yeah, Hades respect her enough to listen, but at the same time, Hades also gives her free reign to do whatever she wants.
That's what I'm saying. And so it's her, she makes the decision of I'll spend so much time here and I'll spend so much time there.
Mm-hmm.
That way, both of them, they're not going to be happy every day of the week, but both of them will have a sense of joy. And for Hades, it was like, this is the light that we did not have here.
See, now you're making me think about what's his name, Percy Jackson,
Oh,
and
the
what happened to with
Percy
Grover,
Jackson
and
and
what
the
happened with
new.
Grover. Because remember, Grover was left in the afterworld, but he was left there in the afterworld with Persephone, not with Hades. And Persephone was like, "Oh, I never had a satyr before. This could be fun."
Thing
And
is
Grover was like, guys, I think I'm going to be okay. Go
but
ahead."
the thing is the original story is she doesn't wish to be saved.
Right.
The mother goes to Zeus and says, I want my daughter. And Zeus goes to Hades. And and Hades is like, well, why don't we let her choose? And she's like, well, I'd rather be here, you know? And because at first, yeah, he takes her against her will, but in the end, she becomes a good helpmate.
Mm-hmm.
They work together in things. Um, Whereas with her mom, it was a different. She loves her mom, but it was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, if I don't make a decision, this gonna get ugly. So it's like, hey, mom, I'm gonna spend so much time with you, and then I'm gonna spend so much time with him. Okay, that way you get to have me for so much time. He gets to have me, but I'm happy here.
Right.
So
It's like
I'm only
mom's not happy with the husband, so it's like I want the marriage to know. Zeus annul this marriage.
and he's like, well, why don't we go ask her? you know, which I think is one of the smartest things Zeus ever does. It's like, why don't we go ask? See if
Well,
this is
well, that's the thing, because Zeus knew it's like Hades hated him, and I never understood the full hate of Hades to Zeus, because Zeus never really wanted him to be over the afterlife, but that's what he chose because of a lot of the portrayals and everything. He's like, eventually he chose that.
but the thing is they needed someone to take that position.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't just, if they hadn't, it would have been, the world would have been very chaotic and crazy. So it was a necessary position, and he turned out, according to the mythology, the perfect guy to do it, and she helps temper him, which is why you have the Elysian fields and all of this. So
And the river
it
Styx. And the river
yeah,
Styx.
and the river Styx, but it there is a tempering there.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy. The mom is not happy, but it's like, look, you can either not have your daughter, and the only reason Zeus goes is because she's like, fine, no more good weather, no more fruit growing. I will just let the world exist in winter if you don't give me what I want.
That's the whole thing. I don't remember the Greek version of that, but Gaia would do that.
Yeah. And so it was this it was like we have to figure something out here.
There have to be an impasse at some point. And he was like, well, let's go ask her what she really wants to do.
Yeah, so Zeus has to work something out. But like I said, I
There's certain
couldn't
characters.
wait.
There's certain characters in Greek mythology. If I ever got to interview, I just have just a handful of questions. Like one with Hera, why did you put up with everything that Zeus did?
I
Zeus showed you that he was not going to be faithful and all this other stuff
was
and
never
blah
going to
blah
be
blah blah
faithful.
blah.
And
And you're supposed to be the goddess of wisdom.
why did you consistently punish all the women? because there was often no consent on their part. You know, he's the head of the gods. They don't have a choice to say no. To say no would be to be wiped from existence because they said no. There's
Again,
an
that
old
makes me think about the
story.
story about the little kid and the beach and the rock.
Well, no, there's an old story, old Greek mythology, um, before he put his mother away.
Hmm.
There was a woman that she found out that he was going to take against her will. And she goes to him and tries to convince him this is not the thing to do. And what Zeus does, he essays her. And then he goes and attacks the other woman. And it's like, yeah, he's not my favorite.
Right, but
Sorry.
like I said, it's
Because,
like that's
but
one of the questions I would ask here. Is like,
if
you
you,
could have done more.
but like I said, it's interesting. And as a, and I went to a teacher in high school and raised these concerns. And I had two English teachers that I talked to, and they both said the same thing. Victory is written by, history is written by the victors. Look
Right,
at who
and
wrote.
I
These
get
aren't
that.
women writing these stories. These are men writing these stories. And if a woman had written those stories, he would have been a much different character. Or when the mother comes to say, that's not a good idea, he would have said, Mom, you're right. And that would have been different. But when you think about the mind of who's writing these stories,
Mhm.
because we think about early Roman history, the Sabine women, the Romans go to that. They're going to all the surrounding areas. They don't have any women.
Mhm.
And they go to the Sabines. It's like, well, we think your women are prettier than anybody else. Will you give us your women? And they're like, we talk to our women. They say they don't want to come. So no, we're not giving you our women because they're our
Mhm.
women. And the Romans then kill all the men and take the women by force. Um, and because it's written from a male perspective,
From the Romans' point of view, it's going to be like, oh, it's the right of spoils and this, that, and the other. But if somebody from the opposite side is like, no,
from
they came to us, we said no, and we got into a war over it. We happened to lose.
you know, um,
But it also makes me think about the trickery because of everything that Zeus did to trick a lot of these women into a lot of this, like turning himself to all these different animals, assuming all these different forms,
the,
and coming to them in such a way that was pleasing to them to
I'm
get them
sorry.
off guard before he just takes it.
I've seen swans. I have never seen anything about a swan where I'm thinking, yeah, I gotta hit that. No, I'm sorry.
But that's the reason why I say it's like the trickery. It's like you have to, when you read it, it's like there's some trickery that is really there. It's like I hate to equate it to King James Bible, but it's kind of like the whole thing about the serpent talking to Eve. It's like
Out of nowhere, a snake.
how is the serpent is going to convince somebody who has been told directly not to partake of this particular tree,
Also, a
something
snake just slithers up and
something
says,
that goes against that teaching in such a way to make her be overly convinced.
well, it's like, I always tell people Little Red Riding Hood is the first werewolf story you ever read. And they look at me and like, why? It's like, sweetie, this creature steps out of the shadows
As
and
talk to her.
talks to her and tells her, it's like, hey there, little girl, where you going? And he knows it. In the book, he addresses her by name in the early
Mm-hmm.
books. Hey, Red Riding Hood, where are you going? I'm going to see my grandma. and because she's sick. So she talks to him. She knows who he is in that form. She thinks she's talking to another human.
Mm-hmm.
And he then tells her, hey, your grandma's feeling poorly. This will perk your grandma up. Over there, there's a little field. There's a clearing where
There's some
there's a
flowers
field.
over there. Pick
There's
some flowers and this,
wildfires.
that, and the other to give him enough time to go to grandma's house to be like, oh yeah, I'm about to have me some sick
And
grandma first
he's
before
a
I have
chimera.
Little Red Riding Hood.
And he's a chimera because he eats up Granny in one bite. And before he gets in, he knocks on the door. Granny's like, it's Red Riding Hood, Grandma. He made himself sound and look like her.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until he came in the door and came around to the bed that suddenly, I'm the wolf, and swallows her whole. And then when Red, it is for those of you who have not read this since childhood, you are reading a transformation scene. Grandma, what big eyes you have. What big nose. What big hands. What big teeth. That's a transformation scene.
But the thing about it, all of it at the very end, and this is the part that always get left out in most translations of it, the woodsman never truly gets explained, because if the woodsman was really written the way that it was supposed to, woodsman was a Van Helsing. He was a Van Helsing. He was tracking them.
Yeah, because it's like the woodsman just shows up at
out of nowhere.
Door.
Out of nowhere, like
he's digesting, sleeping it off, and he just and the woodsman lets himself in because they're swallowed. They're not screaming. Lets himself in. Sees the wolf, who by now is no longer pretending to be anybody but who he is, and then sees his belly all distended, slices him open, and they both jump out hale and hearty. Not a scratch on them.
Because the digestion hasn't started as of yet.
Yes. And then and one of the reasons they changed the story, because somebody's mama read this section where after they disposed of the wolf, the woodsman skins the wolf, gives the pelt to Granny, who then makes a fur coat for Red. Okay, and they sit down and have wine and cakes and stew and whatnot. And somebody went, you can give a child wine? Nobody trusted water back then. So guess what they drank?
They drank wine.
They drank wine or beer. Children drank beer. They drank milk when they were infants, and their mamas drank beer, so they were getting beer in their breast milk. So,
and that's what makes them ready for mead.
Okay, so
but we're at 2 hours 18 minutes here. I didn't realize we was that far over here.
So yes, it's so it and just so you know, Three Little Pigs, the pig eats the wolf at the end because the wolf ends up falling into a cauldron. The pig cooks and eats him at the end. Just so you know. Yeah, I read old versions of them stories.
Of Brothers Grimm.
Oh, yes.
Brothers Grimm tells you the real story before it got sanitized.
And the way they do it nowadays is not the
way very sanitized. It's very sanitized and very, very safe for consumption here. But if you read the older versions of a lot of those Brothers Grimm tales, there's a reason why we're called Brothers Grimm.
That was some grim tales. Anyway, yeah, I need to eat, and then I need to go to bed. Because I'm tired, I'm old. Okay, I'm old and tired, and I'm hungry, and I might turn around. That was for tomorrow when we order the pizza. No, you weren't supposed to touch that till tomorrow, especially the black cherry. She gonna whoop your ass, and it won't be nothing I can do.
Saving it. You didn't tell me. You did not tell me.
Okay.
We got to end because she's about to get stabby over there. And it's like, what did I say? What did I say?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, thank you for coming. Yeah, that's my oldest just walking in this room going, let me get out this way before this woman kills me. Thank you for coming. I'm Elaine Haygood, one of your hosts. My website is lenscaponline.com. If you go to my website, go down to the bottom of the main web page to where it says contact us, drop me a line. I promise, unless you say something really stupid, I'll respond. Also, you can find me here on YouTube, Elaine Haygood. You can find me at Elaine Haygood over on Facebook, and I'm not anywhere. Well, I'm on LinkedIn, but you don't want to go over there. It's turning into AIville. It's not very nice. But anyway, you take care. We thank you. Y'all have a good evening. Catch you next week when hopefully Cliff will be here. We'll have
Cliff will be here. We're probably going to end up talking more about comics, but the thing about it is, please, if you like that idea, get this video over to DC Comics, please.
Yeah, call DC. Come on. Elaine Haygood, Jody McPhee. Come on. You know you want to see this. You know that.
Shoot.
And we're the only one who can bring it to you the right way.
Find a way to get this over to Jim Lee. He'll figure out something.
Okay. Anyway, y'all take care. We love your faces. Whether you watch this live, whether you watch us later, be careful out there. Don't take no wooden nickels. Peace.
And that brings us to our sponsor for the evening, which is Jeffrey Hayes and Plasma Fire Graphics. Because why? You need that ultimate cover that gets people talking about your book, brings them over to your table to say, hey, tell me more. You want an award-winning author like Jeffrey Hayes, who have won several Pope Factory Awards for his covers for things like for like one, Brian K. Morris's The Terrors, and a lot of the other books from Jeffrey Millhouse Publishings and everything to that magnitude here. But if you don't believe me as far as that is concerned, maybe you would believe what we're about to show you right here.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You seen those covers? He could do exactly the same thing for your creation. Just hit him up at plasmafiregraphics.com or his Facebook group for Plasma Fire Graphics. As far as I'm concerned, I will be here on Saturday. We're going to be talking about setbacks again, but we're going to expand upon it a lot because of some of the things that I have encountered over the last couple of months here. You know, I always talked about, it's like, oh yeah, this had happened, that had happened, this, that, and the other. And I finally got my foot back. I got pretty much everything rocking and rolling again. And then all of a sudden I have not heard anything back from Repop as of C2E2 for next year. They said I'm supposed to hear something back by the end of July. We're not by the end of June. We're almost in July, almost at the end of July. Haven't heard anything back, but I'm curious as far as if I did send something inquiring about what's going on, will they be serious enough to let me know what's actually happening? Because they haven't sent me any information about being on a wait list. They haven't sent me a contract for 2027 as of yet. And then playing around that, what if I don't get into C2E2 next year? What would be the next steps? What shows would I be more available to going to? Do I forego C2E2 and maybe try to go back out to San Diego, or really roll the dice again and see if I could get another booth at New York and just hedge all my bets to go all in on a New York or a San Diego? That's a lot of things to think about, a lot of aspects to go here, plus working on the actual projects and everything that we got going on here. So there's a lot to talk about here. Might not have any new comic books pickups for the week here because it's been a very slow week and nothing has came in as of yet, but you never know. So until next week here, live life, bro, and be well. And unlike our founder for Comic Book Spectrum, Brian K. Morris, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. And we'll see you here next Thursday, same time, same channel for Comic Book Spectrum. Have a good rest of your evening.